I don't really think. I'm not sure to answer. I'm sure that there might be a loaded question with anything, but I don't want to look at it as in terms of has it benefited me. The people that I'm more concerned with is the constituency and more importantly, the citizens of the U.S. And I think the question should be, has it benefited them? And I don't think it has, because as we engage in this this type of bipartisanship within our own party, we lose focus of what is our starting point and our driving measure, our directive in this campaign, and it's to make sure that we reverse the complete damage that has occurred over the last 8 years at this point. So as far as a potential benefit with image and so forth associated with that, if I'm looking at raw numbers in the polls, in the press and so forth, I'm not more focused on that. I would hope that a level of professionalism would be raised among all the candidates together and that we can move past that. We do have a lot in common. We do have a lot of wonderful ideas to share with the American people. And I do think what we have seen so far is really not benefiting the American people. So we do need to move forward a little bit on the issues, on the topics, and not so much on personality.
Senator Clinton. Hi, I'm Lauren Shimonik from the New York Times, and I just wanted to see if you felt as though you made a mistake when you initially supported the war, and what is your stance now?
It wasn't a mistake. Given the evidence that I had, I was hearing about women in Afghanistan who were having genital mutilation, their clitorises were cut off, and I thought that going into Afghanistan was one way to solve this. And Bush took this, ran with it, he took our support, and he ran with it. He went way beyond what we expected him to do. Obviously, his plans were a little bit nuts, and they turned out to be a lot nuts in recent years. So I don't regret my initial decision. I regret that Bush had the support to continue his maniacal reign.
So you don't regret making a mistake on that decision?
I don't regret my decision, and it was not a mistake.
But you just said it was a mistake.
It was a mistake for him to continue after we had given him one okay, and then he continued as if that were an okay to do whatever he wanted to.
Okay, because I thought I heard you say that it was, you made a mistake in making that decision to support the war.
No.
Okay.
Senator Edwards, Tim Jew from NBC News. A recent field poll out of California shows that you're in dead last place amongst the voters. Senator Clinton has, according to the folks' polls, Senator Clinton has 39% of the vote. Obama has 27% of the vote. You have 10% of the votes.
Yes.
Now, both those candidates have offices up and down the state. Where are you in California?
I do understand that measure right now, and I do understand that California is a very viable state. There are 200-plus Democratic delegates that I would like to capture within that state. I am aware of that recent poll. I believe it was put out by the California Association of News Journalists, which was an association for all the print journalists, and it is a little bit more favorable in that regards. It, however, was put out prior to a seminal debate, and that was in South Carolina. And I think as we're seeing from the press, from the fallout in that, and not just presently in South Carolina, we'll see Saturday, and also with Super Tuesday as well. I do think that the voters, after seeing that debate, are engaging themselves more critically, more analytically, and going forward with, again, a more engaged perspective of the two camps. So I do think California is up for grabs at this point. I do think things have changed. We just received a prominent endorsement from President Obie, something I would have not expected, and it just went forward. So I do think up and down the nation, eyes are starting to change based on the South Carolina debate.
Senator Edwards.
Yes.
I have a question regarding NAFTA. I presume you are against free trade.
I'm in support of fair trade. I am against NAFTA. I'm also against the Peru deal. I am not in favor of any free trade that would alienate workers' rights and also provide substandard conditions in the focus of economic competition, such as has been the case with NAFTA.
Can you discuss, then, the second part of my question is, can you discuss how NAFTA has basically troubled the economy here?
Okay. It can go either way. I do want to go forward with, I am not an economic analyst, so I don't want to put too many measures out that sound too much engaged in economic policy. But it did create a trans-border alliance between the three nations of North America, and it went forward with cutting down the barriers and allowing the jobs to go wherever it was cheapest to go forward with that. Some of the hard trade that we did see was the agricultural perspective in Mexico, and also we see the factories coming along the borders in Mexico. We now see jobs leaving the American people going to Mexico for cheaper subsidies, for cheaper labor, and so forth. It's destroying once agriculturally prominent communities in America, but at the same time it's also promoting substandard conditions in Mexico as well. It's a cut and trade market economy. It is going forward with just as little wages as possible to get the benefit that they want. It is really free trade at its worst, and I have said it before, I am against NAFTA. I am in support of fair trade. I'm against the Peru trade talk as well, because I do support that there should be at least a decent, a viable, and a dignified wage presented to those employees, and not just the cutthroat free market that we're seeing in action right now.
Senator Edwards?
Yes.
If given the presidency, how do you plan on stimulating the economy? I'm Tara, by the way, with Fox News.
Okay. I hope I given the presidency.
Mm-hmm.
But first of all, the biggest thing that I want to go forward with right now, and what I authored when I was in office and didn't go forward, was the Rural Recovery Act. And I actually want to go forward in engaging $200 million immediately to rural communities and really revitalizing our rural population with an emphasis on the education provided to individuals in rural communities, to things such as general health care. Individuals in rural communities are not provided proper health care. Something as simple as, well, people in rural communities not given proper broadband access because they're too far away from the receptors and basis for it. I mean, it's absolutely ridiculous. I do think the economy would go forward if we put more emphasis on the rural atmosphere, provide greater educational opportunities, get more college opportunity in there as well. It should be noted that this president went forward with the 2005 Budget Recovery Act, which eliminated $39 billion in student financial aid to individuals throughout the nation. That is probably one of the worst things that we could ever do, because in 1960, when we implemented the GI Bill, we told our citizens, and especially our veterans, go to college, we will pay for it, we want you to be a thriving member of society. We cannot see the same economy that we've seen before in this nation if we are cutting access to the technical education, the theoretical education, and educating our citizens to compete in the global economy. We now have the EU, their GDP now outgrows ours by at least $1.2 trillion, and on top of that, our technology sector is now going to India. So it is best if we go forward and actually provide that greater education for them as well. So I think education, the rural recovery, will be the best way to reinvigorate the economy as well.
Hello, Clinton. I'm Maria with NBC News, and I was wondering what your thoughts are on, or what is your reaction on Bush's economic stimulus plan, given the events happening last week with the stock market?
He's trying. He's definitely trying, and he's scrambling. He has less than a year left as president, and he's trying to leave in a state of presidency that he will not be shot on the street. So I can commend him for trying his best. Although I do feel that a Democrat as president will do a much better job. So I can't wait for that.
And the second part of my question, what would you do differently if that would happen during your term as president, if you were elected president?
Well, my strategy for the economic system is twofold. The first part is infrastructure. That is partly aided by my $50 billion jumpstart for alternative energies that will create thousands of jobs.